Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's Danny Limelight. And I need all of you to subscribe to According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and all other platforms.
What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of talking to a multi-time award-winning actress, singer, producer, songwriter. She's the multi-talented Sarah Schroeder Matzkin. Sarah, what's going on?
I'm just Friday, just having a good time. Why Friday? It's Monday.
It can be Friday. It's cool. I like that. Let's do Friday.
I'm having a glass of wine with my straw, so I can keep my lipstick on.
Ooh, I like the straw, and also like the tear.
Said Friday.
Yeah, absolutely. The teardrop, like wine glass, and the straw. I almost feel like I feel just like a water bottle. Like I feel unprepared a bit.
I have that too. But on set, you get used to having wine with a straw because you don't want to, especially when you're singing or acting or whatever. And for some reason, I was praying it was Friday. I don't know. All the days. Don't you feel like it's Groundhog Day right now?
Yeah, I was having a conversation with my wife. I just know everything ends in DAY. The first half of it, like I don't know. I haven't known for a year.
Yeah, I look past. I look back at this year and I'm like, I can't believe we're May.
Yeah.
We've been through COVID for over a year.
Yeah.
And some have had it way worse than others. And, we should all be blessed that haven't. I mean, you're working. I've been able to work. But we need to stick together and love each other and be kind.
I love that you said that because there was a lot of, it wasn't just like COVID, and it's something that obviously is ongoing, but all like political stuff and just like blah blah blah, and it's just like stick together, folks. Like we're all, doesn't matter how you voted, doesn't matter what you believe and what have you. Like we're all trying to figure it out, man. And like if you might have an answer, please kind of like let me in on the secret, but also don't kind of trudge if I don't do it your way, and vice versa.
Right. And then it's ridiculous. And everybody's fighting, especially in politics. I mean, I don't even want to go there.
Yeah.
Don't get anything done. I mean, I think the population would like to get some more stuff done. And I think we should get together and do it.
And that's why the arts are so important now more than ever, right? And you are you are a bit of an anomaly to me because like acting is hard, producing is hard, singing is hard, songwriting is hard. You do it all, like, and it's almost mind blowing, right? So, but let's kind of dial it back a bit. Like, when did this whole kind of like creative time start in your life? Or did you grow up wanting to be any of those things?
Well, you're very kind, first of all, for saying all those sweet things. So I have to say that. But yes, when I was young, we were always singing. I don't know if you knew this, but my dad was a mortician, and it talks on my EPK about it a little bit. And he would just drop us four girls off, and we would just be entertainment. And so I loved to act, I loved to sing, and so then my path went off. I played basketball in college and over in Perth. I was the youngest of 8, just like James.
Yeah.
So we had that in common too. But our other friend that's
James Law Jr.
James Law Jr. But so anyway, I played basketball. It took me over to Australia. Came back. I wanted to get in the movie business, but my brother was in it, and he was like, Sarah, the average actor makes $2,000 a year. And I was like, well, I don't know if I could eat my self on that. So I took a different path. I still sang. I grew up singing in church and choir, and and later on, I was able to connect with a movie. I've raised all the money, which is hard to do. It took me, I swear to God, I think it took me 3 years to raise all that damn money. I mean, I was like 3 years of raising money. So, and it was with Christopher Plummer called Man in the Chair. And yeah, so I raised the money, and then that was my first producing job. And I had a little role in it, and I was playing across Christopher Plummer, and so sweet, God rest his, God rest his soul, rest in peace. Elaine, his wife, is amazing. They were just amazing people. Anyway, fast forward, I had a scene with him, and I was hooked. I was just like, I'm in love with acting. I'm in love with Hollywood. I I went down another path, and now I'm coming to Hollywood, and I moved, and that was pretty much it. And from that movie, I ended up meeting my husband, Steve Matzkin. Isn't that crazy?
I think it's great though.
Yeah, I mean, and guess where? Florida.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm in Idaho, getting ready to move to California, running a finance company after living in Australia, blah, blah, fast forward. Then I had like 17 lives. I think I'm like a cat somewhere, or maybe a dog. I'm more like a dog because I'm really loyal. But I have as many lives as a cat.
Right.
Anyway, yeah, so I was going to California. I met Steve at a film festival in Florida, and the rest is history with him. We ended up falling in love and making movies. And he's a lot of the reason I got back into singing because he's an amazing musician. And he wrote the songs too. I mean, he wrote "Look to the Stars."
Wow.
Yeah. So and then he writes the music. He's incredible. And then we have a kick-ass producer named Chico Bennett. Like I mean, I love him. He's dope. So,
Yeah, he is.
he's awesome. So yeah, so that was that part.
Now, I mean, that's kind of fun. And I mean, you grew up in Idaho as a
Yeah.
daughter of a mortician. Now, it's funny because like the only so I'm a big wrestling fan, and the only time that I saw like a mortician, or a semblance of one on TV, there was a wrestler called The Undertaker, and he actually had a manager named, wait for it, Paul Bearer. Paul Bearer. Right? Because, yes, of course, wrestling. But Paul Bearer was legitimately a mortician down in Mobile, Alabama, under William Moody. So I think it's fun that, like, your dad, yeah, I mean, your dad, 8 kids, eight is enough, apparently, right? 8 kids, you being the baby, and doing all of these, like, athletic endeavors, moving across the world. I mean, that's a small, like a far cry from Idaho, right? And then his son being an actor, going like, hey, and then gets his baby girl into it, and then she ends up finding her husband, his son-in-law. This is wild. That's a movie in itself.
Could be. So no, it was a ride. But and growing up, I mean, you would never believe my dad didn't realize he had 4 boys and 4 girls. We were all just treated equally. I was moving by 5 in the morning. I mean, we were not. He was kind. Don't get me wrong. He was kind, but he taught me how to work, and that's what we did. I mean, we had to survive, and you don't make a ton of money being a mortician. I mean, they are dying to come see it, but
I like what you did there.
they are, and the dead ones can't hurt you. So that's one thing I learned. But my dad had a really good sense of humor. So, he would wake me up sometimes because you have to go, and this is kind of weird, but he would have to go pick up a body. You have to go pick it up. So we would take either the hearse or sometimes we had a station wagon. And we would go and pick up the body. So it's on a cot, by the way. It's not in a casket because we haven't made it to the funeral home. And my dad was so funny because we'd go through the drive-through of like McDonald's and get a coffee and like I don't know even what the egg McMuffin or whatever. And my dad would turn around and go, Clarice, what do you want? And you should have seen the people say,
Oh no.
oh no, but it was fun. I mean, and here's this cot, and they're looking at him like, something's wrong with these people. But you know what? You either have a good sense of humor or you're a highly functioning alcoholic in that business. It's the
Ten
truth.
No, 100%, 100%. And Don McGuire says, "How is Halloween 5 memory wise?" Remember?
Five memory wise. Oh, clear from Utah. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I think he was kind of making the reference of like the mortician and what have you. I think that's where
I did a Halloween. I worked on a Halloween. That's why.
you did, right?
Yeah, but that was so long ago. So I didn't know if he was
He might have
referencing
been. Don McGuire is one of the most because he's an interviewer in his own right, and he goes deep, like really deep in terms of like his research and whatever. So he probably saw this coming through like the social media feeds and was like, I know Sarah, I know her. Could it be from Halloween 5?
It could have. I don't remember the number. I worked on it with my brother Kelly. Yeah. Okay. So that's it. It was a long time ago. I was still in high school, and I worked on it with my brother Kelly. You got to realize when I was born, my two brothers were pretty much gone. They were
Wow.
out of the house. So I was an accident.
Happy accident.
Well, my dad said I was a good swimmer. I swam through the phone. So that was our big joke. He would always say that. But anyway, he's probably referring to that. And we had such a good time. And I just remember the wrap party, all the patio furniture, and everything from the pool was in the pool. And the hotel was not happy with us, but I was really happy about it because I was like 16. So it was so much fun.
I mean, the fact of the matter, you were 16. That's a pretty tender age, right? And like maybe like a cotillion, maybe a spring fling, prom. Well, I mean, you're 2 years removed from prom, but then you get a Hollywood rap party with all of the debauchery. That's just saying.
Well, cheers to my brother Kelly. He brought me on as a PA. And then he felt sorry for me because the PAs it's not a great job. And then so they put me into wardrobe because they're like, oh, she's got some style. We're going to put her into wardrobe. He was just kind. But and he passed away. So God rest his soul too. But not to be a Debbie Downer, but
Yeah.
blast. He's the reason I got that gig. So.
That's tremendous. No, I did PA one time, and I think it was the NAACP Awards, the Image Awards. Never to be asked back. But I met Will Smith. He was cool. So there you go. And I think they forgot like that they were paying me because I'm probably sure if anybody had a mind's eye, I sat around and ate catering all day. Is what I did.
A lot of people gain weight on sets because of that. How was Will? I can imagine he would just be amazing.
No, he's tremendous. I said, for whatever reason, I said, like, Philly, what's up? And he was like, yeah, dog, gives me this hug. I don't know why I said that. I don't know. I've never been to Philadelphia in my life. But, weird things happen. Weird things happen.
Yeah, it does. Who's the most famous person, or the most, I should say, the person that you met that, like, you were like, whoa, impacted you, like, the most? I just wonder. Famous or impacted or
well, so I mean, a lot of it would be like combat sports related. I've had like a lot of like WWE, UFC people and what have you. I want to say like everybody that I've ever interviewed, but also I have this bad kind of interaction with one Jaleel White, better known as Steve Urkel, right back in the day. During the height of Family Matters, my dad was actually a musician and played at Ghirardelli Square in San Francisco. And we just kind of heard around the square, because my dad was like a busker, a street performer, like, oh, Urkel's here. And I had like my little talking Urkel doll. And I was like, and I finally got to meet him, like this crowd of people, whatever. And I was like, hey, how do I get into this like you? And he was just like, keep dreaming, kid. And he walks off.
It's very nice.
Yeah, so that's probably him. And Pee Wee Herman was like probably the most disappointments. So I try like not to be like Pee Wee Herman to other people, as well as have them do that to me.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Negative into positive, right?
Yeah, that's right. Then you just will, you'll be kind and not mean and arrogant like
Yeah,
Steve.
yeah, absolutely. NWA Bad Blood says, "Yo, and what is she working on now?" There's a poster behind you. Um, so what are you working on now, Sarah?
Get out of the way. I was like, which way should I go? Uh, well, Not Alone is getting ready to be released. We're working with some distribution companies right now and picking the best partner for that. And that's an interesting story too, because you're like, do tell. We actually filmed that movie in our house that we sold. So we had a home in Tampa that we had tried to sell forever that Steve had before. I call it BS, before Sarah. So he had this house, and it was large and kind of creepy looking and kind of plantation-ish, but a great
Wow.
set. So we had a set for free. So I hired these writers that were a writer-director team. They're great, Liddell, Jackson, and Cecil Reed. Look them up on IMDb; they're awesome. And we sent them to the house, and we said, let's write a script. Let's film this baby, because I have to be in Tampa 6 months a year, and Tampa's kind of, no offense, sometimes Tampa's boring, but I love Miami. But I was like, we're gonna be here anyway, honey, so let's just film a film. Let's do it. So we decided to go the Cassavetes route and use our own location, and we filmed Not Alone. So that's what they're, and let me tell you, you film and then they wrote me in the lead, and I was like, I was blown away and blessed. They're like, oh, we know you'll give it your all, and we also know you don't care about overtime.
Ah, there you go.
They
Ulterior
didn't say it.
motive. Yeah, ulterior motive there. I'm
Yeah,
just
that's right.
saying.
But no, it was great, and I felt blessed and honored that they did do that. But anyway, so we filmed the whole thing there, except we were 4 days off on different locations, but literally 17 to 18 hours a day. I had to put a bed in the closet because I couldn't sleep because it was so noisy and filming other stuff, and I was in 90% of the scene. So when I did have time to sleep, I slept. And why I bring that up is we got so lucky. We hired Richard Lawson to play Dr.
Yeah.
Clay.
Yeah.
Oh my God, killer. He's so good and so sweet and so kind. And then Pat Healy played Walter, so from Cheap Thrills, and he's directed his own movies. So we had a great cast. Rose Rosen cast all the other talent local and Florida, and I will say Tampa came out strong for that. They were amazing. So that's our latest one that we just finished, and it's edited finally and done, and we're getting ready to send that one to college.
Yeah.
So, and then we did three others for last year too. Uh, Bloodshot, Tax Collector, and then the Trial of the Chicago Seven. We're all in the last few years. So,
Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. The tax collector. Rough.
woo!
That's rough, man. My sister actually was like, "Yo," because Shia LaBeouf to me, I'm always like kind of dead set on the first time I see somebody. So it's the
Yeah,
kid from Even Stevens, right? The Disney show, right? It's like, oh, this Shia LaBeouf, man. Like Even Stevens, he's gone wild, and I was just like, yeah, right. Oh, dude, that's it's rough, man. It's so
it's
rough.
rough when the executive producer is going like this the whole time through the screening. Something's going on. I couldn't watch it. But it's very good.
It is good.
It is incredible, and if you like that kind of movie, it's you should go see it. So, or watch
No,
it, or rent it.
absolutely. Yeah, no, 100%. No, it's on the I believe it's on Hulu. The Trial of the Chicago 7 is on Netflix, and
Yeah,
then Bloodshot is also on Hulu right now. So if you've got like $20, you can see all three of the things that you have eloquently and elegantly produced. So I'm just saying, do that.
well, thanks. Yeah, do that. Do
Do
that.
that. Do
And
that.
then another thing we're working on is another song called "On the Wire." So Chico and I've been working on, and Steve's been helping with the lyrics and trying to figure out the melody and all that stuff. So we're going to record that when we get back to LA.
Which, I mean, in the theme of like, things that are going down, you have two videos and songs on your YouTube channel. And one is Betrayal, which, I love what you said in a kind of an addendum to the actual song. You were basically like, everybody's had betrayal in their life, right? And especially somebody, who is in the industry, especially everybody that has endured the last year have had some sort of betrayal, whether that be an amorous one go awry or a work relationship or just your work and livelihood in general kind of betrayed you. I think it's always going to be there. So, like, how did betrayal come about?
That's a rough one. Even when I talk about it, I get emotional. Um, I was betrayed by someone who I would have never thought would betray me. So, and when they did, my whole life shifted. I think you look through you're looking through your lenses, right? Which is your eyes, you're looking, and mine were always rose colored with this person.
All right.
And yeah, it was tough. So we've moved on and it's fine. But when I wrote the song, it helped me get it out. And my first couple versions were even stronger. and then I was like, no, you need to. It helped me heal because I was like, you're not a person that holds grudges. You're forgiving. You're not. I'm not a hateful person. I don't have hate. I think hate. The only thing hate does is make you feel more horrible inside. So if you hate somebody, then you're just going to hate yourself. So I slowly got back to Sarah, and my upbringing, and I was like, I forgive, and it's over. But writing the song, I hope people can hear the lyrics and really understand it. You shouldn't hate anybody. People will betray you, but you move on. You know what? Pick the ones. You got 5 good friends or 10, and they love you and they will be loyal. Pick those and go for it. You don't need those people. You don't need that drama. You can still love them from a distance.
Yeah.
You can forgive them, but you need to set your boundaries. So that's like,
So, and as an artist, right? To have that happen, is it a bit of catharsis to be able to elect and like move on those emotions where a lot of people might not be able? The fact that and I think it's amazing. You and Steve have this synergy where you guys are both artists in many respects, but also can come together in a lot of your projects and go like, this is what we can do. And being able to kind of lay something so intense and something so raw, and have this medium to do it. How like, I guess, cathartic has it been to have that happen?
well, I feel blessed to have him as a partner. Sometimes we go like this because we're partners, and you know, COVID didn't change much for us though because we work together all the time anyway. So, meaning being together.
Right.
COVID changed everything for everybody, but just being together, we were together a lot anyway. So it was like, okay, we still like each other most of the time. No, we do. But to answer your question, I think it's good because we have 2 different hats. A lot of times he'll do legal. I'm not alone. He was the on-set producer, which he did not love because it was a lot. He liked being the executive producer, the behind the scenes, talking on the board calls, what we're doing, are we gonna go into like with the trial of Chicago 7. We decided not to go into theaters, so that was a big decision. But to answer your question, for Betrayal, Steve just kind of stayed after the music was done and the video was going. I just worked with the director, and David Vargas is awesome. He's great, and we had this synergy. And he could tell how emotional it was for me to do Betrayal, so he just really just tried to capture the lens. And there was points in it where he said I was free, and then he said then there was points where he could tell I was ready to have an emotional meltdown. So that was a hard song for me to sing, to be honest. It was hard, and the bathtub singing was really emotional, and but I like it. We came together, and I hope people will watch it. and I hope they'll heal from. Like people have, you've been betrayed,
Yeah.
probably. You know, I don't know anybody that hasn't been lied to or hurt, or maybe not even betrayed is the right word, but maybe they'll listen and go, you know what? I am free now, and I'm going to let that person be free too. So, and forgive and move on.
Absolutely. Which I got to ask, like in terms of, because I don't believe in like particular bad experiences because as long as you take something away from it. So the process of it actually happening to you and then, going through creating and cultivating the song, which if not for that experience, it wouldn't be here, right? Through this whole process, like what did you learn about yourself and your ability to kind of cope with things?
Well, one thing I've always kind of known about myself is I don't regret. I think regret is a choice, and I don't regret. I mean, I make bad decisions sometimes. I might say the wrong thing sometimes, but you only, it's your choice to regret it. So I just don't regret. And that's been one of my mottos. And then if I could tell anybody anything in this industry, and I've said this before on interviews, don't take no for an answer because you're going to hear it a lot and a lot of rejection. And I just tell people like, no, it's just okay. Well, let's just go get in and then open another door because if you don't, you're going to just go and lay down and cry. So you're going to get no. So just keep going, knock on the doors, keep going. Things will open up.
I like it. No, absolutely, and it's funny. Like I at times have encountered that myself. I'm like, oh, how did you get this particular guest or whatever? And I was like, yeah, 400 podcasts in, but I've got probably like 3,000 no's since July. So I'm just saying, it's funny what people will look at as success versus like, oh man, like there could be so much more, and it's about telling the story. But again, people will only see what they want to see.
This is true, 100%.
Yeah.
And then Look to the Stars. The other video is it's a totally different project.
Right.
We wrote that song for the end credits of Not Alone. I don't know if you knew that.
Really?
So, yeah, and really when we went to so we wrote the song, and then when we went to do the video, the words were so much more poignant and relevant with what's going on in the world right now. And so the director and I sat down and I'm like, I don't think we should make this about the movie. I think we should make this about what's going on, and really this one's trying to get people to unite,
Yeah.
So their Betrayal is totally different, and then Look to the Stars is let's just all come together as a society, as a world, and come together. So, and it says love is the answer, and it has the power. So that's that story behind that.
No, I love it. Now, and again, couldn't be a greater dichotomy in terms of like, where emotionally those two pieces of music came from. But, in terms, not to say that you want everything to be accepted or what have you, but like, what has been the response that you've gotten so far, after releasing it? I mean, I think it's only been a couple months, right?
Yeah, it's been I think we released about a month ago,
Right.
maybe 5 weeks, Looks to the Stars, and then Betrayal has been about 3 weeks, I think.
3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, and we're getting, it was funny because at first Look to the Stars was getting like a lot more views, and now Betrayal is catching up with them. I think, I don't know, the last time I checked it was 20-some thousand, 25,000. So they're catching up, but if you guys are watching this, go ahead and go to my YouTube and watch it, please. It's Sarah Schroeder. I would love that. Check them out. And then we're going to do another one called My Angel. That is another funny story that Steve wrote me this song when he asked me to marry him.
Really?
Yeah. Finally, he recorded it. But I was like, when are you going to record that song? And he was like, well, it's so special to me. And so we had to change some of the lyrics because at the end it said, Sarah, will you be my wife?
Oh, wow.
So sweet. And so it's more of a love song. And and I'm going to do that video next.
Yeah, Steve is an ace, and he's gonna make the rest of us husbands or significant others look really bad. Like I'm probably gonna Yeah, I'm gonna
He's
pen
pretty
something.
good.
Yeah, I'm gonna pen something to my wife now. Like, I
I'm sure you're awesome. I can tell by the way just the way you interview, you're awesome.
I appreciate that. I'm gonna try and convince her that we just celebrated 15 years together, and my goodness, like she's getting if I hit paid her, she's getting it all because just the 15 years to be married to me. Oh, God love her,
What's her name?
Mary.
Mary. Nice.
Yeah, yes,
15 years, that's a long time.
it is. It is, man, and I would say it's more like her being the juggernaut. Like I've just been not an insane person, but like had a couple weird things, like my parents passing away within like 3 years of each other, and like I would always have this, before this kind of iteration of like interviews and what have you. Every job that I worked, we didn't have a car, and I would do like a 4 hour each way trek to get to said job, right? And she would be holding down the fort. So again, she's getting everything. Like she's getting everything. I'm
Mary.
gonna make yeah. Just saying, just saying. Yeah. Now, in terms of like, like you're a producer, you're a songwriter, you're a singer, and an actress. Does any one project, come down the pipeline, and you're like, I want to do that more, or how does the process work? How do you manage all of those things?
It's an interesting question because COVID kind of changed a lot of the acting side of it and also the producing side of it. So, I mean, before COVID, I probably would have said I like to act a little bit more. And then after COVID, and I kind of started realizing, wow, I mean, I don't think anything's ever going to, we're always going to do Zoom. We're not going to spend hours in our car anymore. I
Right.
mean, or what is it, StreamYard.
Yeah.
Shout out for StreamYard.
There you go.
Anyway, I don't think that that's gonna change too much. So when I did the music video, I like both. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna say like 90. I would say one's 90%, one's 100. So when I did music videos, though, it's so freeing. I can, and the emotion, but I do think the acting helped me be able to be more free in the videos. And I've taken like 10 years of acting, so from an Emmy Award winner, and then of course Jenna Rollins. Melissa Hayden's my acting coach, but then Jenna Rollins was my mentor, and she worked with me on a lot of stuff. So I think the acting helps you feel more comfortable, right? And
Yeah.
And then when you belting it out, you're just like, no, I'm back in the church choir, hanging out. Here I am. Let's get in the pool. Let's get in the bathtub.
Which I gotta, does it feel kind of weird? Like, because for me, one of the reasons why the StreamYard and the podcast exists as it is because I don't like editing. I don't, right? And one of the reasons why listening to my voice, like, and I know it sounds kind of counterintuitive because I want people to listen and watch this thing, right? But like, listening back to your own voice, it can be, you can critique it, like almost over critique it in a bit. So how is that like? Because acting in the video, you're saying is freeing, but then listening to the playback and like going through the emotions in their highly emotionally charged songs, that can be kind of unnerving, can it?
Yeah, I guess. I think any actor or actress will tell you they're going to be nervous when you get on set. You got butterflies. I mean. Always. I always do. I'm not going to sit there and say, "Oh, I'm fine." No, but I think the nerves, you got to get in deep, and then you let those go, and just be who you are, and let that emotion come out. So, yeah, I still get nervous, of course, but I do think that helps you some. I think you can use that as a positive, or you can clam up and be like, "Oh my God, I can't do it." So, for me. Because I probably wrote, we were so involved in the writing, and then we'd already sang it, and then we recorded it. The emotion was there already. So, and then the director was awesome. I just have to tell you, a director makes it. He was easy to work with, very positive. I've worked with negative directors, and it's not the same.
No, 100%. And NWA Bad Blood says, but you're awesome too. So there you go. Tremendous. Now, in terms of obviously you have your acting coach and what have you, but like, were you, as a youngin, like, were there a particular actress that you drew from in terms of like, I want to be like that?
Well, oh, singer, I will say Whitney Houston.
Ooh.
I love her. I loved her. Love her. I love her. One of my favorite songs is "I Will Always Love You." My singing coach finally said, "You need to stop singing this because you need to go on to something different." So, actors. Wow, that's tough. I mean, I love so many of them. I mean, Jenna Rowland, of course. Kate
Wow.
Blanchett. Kate Winslet. I've met Angelina Jolie a few times. She's brilliant and super sweet. I don't know that I could pick one. I just picked all women though too, and I should say like I should give some Harrison Ford. I love my Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
My Brad Pitt. You know, I'm sad that I mean whatever. I won't say that. But anyway, I met them together, and so I loved him. I loved him and Thelma and Louise. There's so many good
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah, I never like doing like the top 10 or like
Hard.
or greatest of all time. Those arguments are just like, first off, recency biased, right? If you saw like a litany of great actors and then or movies or films or what have you, you're influenced by them right then. But your answer could change, 2 years from now, and what it looked like for, like 5 years before that, it's a different list. So, it's just like whatever comes to mind. That's what I don't know.
Christian Bell. Like,
Christian Bell, really?
yeah, he's pretty good.
I got to
He
look him
can
up.
play different parts, and I'm kind of just in awe of his talent.
Which, wow, okay, like, yeah, let's have you seen him like in person doing the thing, or
I have never met him in person.
really?
Mm-mm.
So, if there was a definitive Christian Bell role, as told by Sarah Schroeder Matzkin, what would that role be?
You mean one that I've seen or
Yeah,
something?
that like personifies who he is as an actor.
There's so many. Have you ever seen The Mechanic?
Yes.
Like, hello. And
Okay.
then what's the one? I didn't see it when it came out. I was younger. Where he was like he's cutting up the bodies. It's a huge American.
Was
Someone
it
writing.
Psycho? Is it?
American wasn't it American Psycho?
Yeah.
American Psycho. I couldn't even watch that. Like,
Yeah.
and so he goes way back. And then I'm missing a couple. What was the political one he played? He just played it. He was so good. He was unrecognizable. Oh, and The Big Short. Hello.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
The Big
With
Short. Amazing. So I'm just throwing these out, and I have a lot of movies in my brain.
no, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's funny because The Big Short, I may or may not be invested in both AMC and GameStop. So I'm just saying. I looked at that and it's like a rubric of like what to do and not to do, kind of against the hedges. So I don't know, that might be like completely contrary to where your financial background. Like most people are like, if you search it up on like YouTube and what have you, they're like, no, don't buy those. But then there are other people, just like the retail investors, that are like, yo, just go all in if you can. Which
Yeah.
we're trying to see where it's going to go.
Well, you never know. I mean, we didn't know a year ago where we were going to be today. So
That's facts.
that's facts.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite role that you've played?
I have a favorite role that I want to play.
Oh, okay.
Um, I want to play a singer in a movie. I want to sing in a movie and be actually like Judy. That's incredible. You know,
Yeah.
something like that. So, and Nikki Cassavetes promised he was going to write me a script. So, Nikki, you're listening, which he's not. 'Cause he's
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
no, he's not. He's in Mexico City doing a movie. You better be writing that script, buddy. I was
What?
going to play his wife.
So and that intrigues me. Would you rather it be like a role that was written out of thin air, almost like I don't know, Pure Country with George Strait and whatever, and play a fictitious singer, or would you want to do more of a biopic?
Well, it would depend on who it would be. I mean, because I'd have to be able to play the person, right? So I think I would rather play something that was just not off of a autobiography. I don't want to play someone in the past. I want to play someone new and be able to be a little more free. So for me, but I wouldn't say no.
Yeah.
But for me, I kind of like the nuance of being able to not lock in so hard on someone's past, just go forward with the future and really get into the raw of it.
No, I like it. Now you mentioned Tina. I mean, why did I say Tina Turner? Whitney Houston. That was my mom's favorite singer. But in terms of Whitney Houston, this is somebody who was able to sing and perform and act, and she acted her tush off while she was here. What was it about her that drew you to her and her music and her work?
I I knew there was issues and problems, but I when she was younger and she was growing up in church choir and she was so raw and I was younger and I'm watching her and I think it was when she was so young
Yeah.
and she was so raw and then life changed for her and I felt bad for her to be honest and the path that whatever happened I
Yeah.
wasn't there but I think I just loved her story. She grew up in church choir and beyond Warwick. I mean, come on, she had an amazing story. So that's why. I mean, I like Adele's story. I love Adele. I think she's amazing too. So I like the people that have a story.
Yeah.
Lady Gaga, Stephanie, she's got a story,
Mm-hmm.
an amazing story. I was there in Vegas when she fell off the stage.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Do tell.
Crazy. So, Adam, here we are. Steve and I are sitting here, and then the mosh pit's right here. And she always invites her favorite. She gets a letter and invites, or used to invite her favorite fan up on
Mm-hmm.
stage. And she just jumped on him and straddled him. And he wasn't ready. He wasn't prepared. And bum, bum, bum. They fell backwards. He lost his shoe.
Oh, whoa.
This was bad. He hit his tailbone on the stage, and so she swung around in front. So he hit the boom, and she's in front of him, still straddled, and she falls 6 feet. He lands on top of her. It was, I was horrified. I thought, oh my
Yeah.
gosh, she's going to get really hurt. He could
Yeah.
get hurt. And then this is the thing that made me so mad. Guess what people were doing? Videoing. Yeah.
Really?
Really? I was like, put your phones down, people. Let's see if she's okay. So finally, there was no stairs on that side because that's the side the piano was on. Finally, security had to go all the way around to get to her. So it took a minute, and she's on the ground. And anyway, I was mortified, but I will tell you, she got up like a champ, and she goes, "Oh, I just wish there was stairs closer." That's all she said. And she was hurt. She was definitely hurt. And so she walked around and got up the stairs, and then she brought the fan up on. I don't remember the name. And she said, "Please do not anybody badmouth him. He did nothing wrong. It was an accident. He fell. We're fine." And he was crying, and it was. She just handled it like a champ. So that was kind of interesting being there in Vegas for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw both her shows. Her jazz shows just as amazing. Like she's awesome.
Was that the one where she was playing with Tony Bennett?
This was she didn't play with Tony Bennett
Okay.
on the one that I saw, but I think it was. I think that's the reason why the jazz show was created because of her stint with Tony Bennett. So she has one that's more her Gaga style, where she comes down from the ceiling with a good electric guitar, and that's the one she fell off the stage. Which it's a small venue. It's not super big.
Was it MGM? Yeah,
Yeah,
MGM. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, but in the smaller one, not the big one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The theater rather than the arena.
Exactly.
Ah, okay.
And then we went to the jazz one, and I was like, so different. But anyway, I love her too. I don't know. I respect her a lot.
No, I love it. I love that you, as an artist, continue to be inspired by all of these other artists around you. Obviously, Steve. And that's, to me, I think that presents the longevity in this world, is to continue to be, influenced and I guess inspired by people around you. It's almost like a renaissance of sorts where you can just kind of tap in. Lady Gaga is a perfect example, playing a jazz show and then like the full on pop show, that you would expect, all the bells and whistles. How could you not leave there inspired?
And A Star Is Born, she was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, that Star Is Born. I kind of tear up every time I hear that. The shallow song or whatever. I'm just like, I'm doing it now. What the hell?
How about I'll Never Love Again? I
True.
can't get through it. I sing it and I can't get. I mean, like by the time at the end, I never want to see. I can't. It's so hard. I only watched it like 3 times, and I needed a hose, not like a cement. I just needed.
Yeah, just watch everything. Yeah. I. That's. Oh man, but I mean, again, that's the power of art when it's done right. Is it can invoke these amazing emotions, this cavalcade of emotions that you didn't even know that were there. That wouldn't even to quote the Rod Stewart, later Sheryl Crow song, right? The first cut is the deepest. Like, it cuts you deep.
Yeah, it does. That first cut's the deepest, and it is if you think about it as a young adult. And I think right now we should all be really worried about our youth, and reach out to people. They haven't been able to go to school. The parents are going a little crazy. So, as a society, reach out to your neighbors and see how they're doing. People are just so worried about themselves all the time.
Mm-hmm.
We lived in this area, but we recently moved, and it was so sweet. My neighbor brought me cupcakes just 2 days ago. I mean, we were walking to. Yeah, I'm gonna get emotional. I'm a wreck. So, we were walking to dinner because Florida's pretty much open, and she was outside. Her name's Meredith. She was so sweet. And I just said, "Hey, do you happen to have a landscaper? Because I'm looking for a landscaper." And we start talking. She's like, "Well, let me have your number." And I'm like, "Okay." And then she texts me. I text her back. And then 2 days later, she brings me cupcakes. I know. Who does that anymore?
More people need to. I'm just saying.
Agree. And they were lovely. They were poppy seed vegan, and I'm not even vegan, but I was like, whatever. These are great. And she's so sweet. And she moved from the Palisades. So, and she's offered she wants to go on a bike ride. I mean, neighbors need to do more of this. Right? Don't you think, Adam?
Yeah, no, 100%. I maybe I'm a bit ashamed to say that I've lived in my apartment 5 years. 5 years. And because of working and all that, whatever, only now during this time have I ventured out in my neighborhood. And I made a friend down the road, 4 houses down. He's lived there his entire life. We're literally the same age and what have you. And we just started talking. And they were like, "Wait, did you just move in?" And I'm like, "I've been here 5 years." And they're like, "Why haven't I seen you?" Because I'm a hermit otherwise.
Well, also I think maybe COVID made people kind of restrict more, of course. We had to.
Yeah.
It also made you want to be more social.
Yeah.
When we got our freedoms back, which, don't even get me started, but when we got our freedoms back, I think it made people want to be more social.
Yeah.
So, and I think we should.
Yeah. I just like the way you think. You just, and that's no wonder why you guys were the recipient of those vegan poppy seed, muffins. It's just yeah, of course. I almost want to make muffins for you and FedEx it down to Florida. Obviously, It's probably not gonna. I'm not the greatest cook. My wife is the cook. I'm probably. I can. I come from a line of my mom, right, where she would try to do macaroni and cheese and boil it in the pot and burn the pot. And not even put the macaroni in there. So, but it's the thought that counts. Like I would do that.
That's me, by the way. I'm like your mom. So,
No, I love it. I love it. So speaking of like music, right? If we were to look in a particular playlist, Amazon, Pandora, iTunes, what have you, what's in there right now, currently?
one of my favorites that's in there. I mean, I don't know if it's like trending on number one or anything, but is I love. Do you know Lauren Daigle?
Yes.
You
Yes.
Say. I love that song. You Say. I sing that a lot. Um, my songs are in there.
I hope so.
I tend to sometimes not go to the new stuff as much as I probably should, but I would say Lauren. I think I'm saying her name right, Daigle.
Daigle, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I like hers. A lot of it's Christian based, but when I first read or first heard, I should say, that song, You Say, I didn't realize who she was talking about, and I don't think a lot of people maybe do the first time they listen to it. So I like You Say. I love all. I'm addicted to the A Star Is Born soundtrack. I've listened to it over probably 1,000 times, all of them.
Yes.
So there's the second song Bradley Cooper sings, and I'm not a big fan of that one. But it's not because of him. It's just I don't like the song. So I pass that one over, and then I go. I'm just being honest. I skip that one, and then I go to the rest. Love you, Bradley, though, and if you ever want to play in our movies, I'm happy to have you.
Yeah, no, it can be like weird chord changes. Like my wife likes this like the current Bruno Mars song, right? And Leave the Door Open. And to me, and I'm not a musician. My dad was, but like I kind of like weird chord changes. Like I can get it when it goes to like Genesis, and because obviously you're gonna get like weird chord changes with those three, right? Phil Collins, Mike Rutherford, and Tony Banks. But that like there's weird chord changes that happen there, and she was like, "Oh, you gotta hear the song," and thinking I'm gonna like it, like Bobby Womack and like all old school R&B,
Yeah.
and it's like, "Oh, it sounds like this," and there was just so many like weird chord changes. Like when you got to the chorus, I was just like, 45 seconds, I was done. I love Bruno Mars, but it was
No,
just
I do too.
that song. So it could be a weird chord change in that Bradley Cooper song. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. I'm gonna listen to that Bruno Mars one. I don't know that I have. I don't know. And I
Yeah.
don't like stuff that just repeats too all the time. There's so many of those that just repeat. And I'm like, come on, what are we saying? What are we saying? Let's say something. And some
Yeah.
of those go right to the top. I don't know.
I mean, but we also, I don't know. We're and nothing against social media and everything like that. But I mean, Panic at the Disco was a band that got discovered on MySpace, and got signed to a major record label without even playing a show, right? And that's kind of like the contrary to like, being in the garage with your buddies and cranking out some tunes over some beers and whatever. It's a complete dichotomy. And Panic at the Disco is like at this point 20 years removed. Now we've got like SoundCloud rappers with tattoos on their face of ice cream bars and what we're always tired and whatever. So I think it's indicative of that. And oh yes, I sound like the old guy. That's cool. Oh whatever.
No, you don't. No,
All right.
you don't.
Okay. See, that's why you're friends,
You
Sarah.
sound like JoJo Barton. JoJo Barton. She's a singer. Do you know she has the Applause Radio?
Right.
She feels the same way. So
Yeah.
I was on with her the other day, and she said the exact same thing you just said.
See.
So Bohemian Rhapsody, though. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's weird chord changes, but I can get because Freddie and the Brian
Yeah,
May.
all the way to opera. I mean, that's a chord change, but it sounds cool.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which do you have a favorite Queen song?
That's it.
That is,
Yeah. Well, you will rock me. Is
yeah.
that
I will rock you. Yeah,
I
it's
will
a,
rock me.
yeah,
You will
it's
rock
a.
me. I will rock you.
Supposedly that's a double song. It's a double song. Like, it's one song, but then like the radio will play like chop up the two songs. Like it, we are the champion and we will rock you. It's actually the same song, but because it's like 15 minutes long or whatever, the radio edits kind of separate them two.
You should have Steve on because Steve is he'll play these games with me for that era, and I'm like, Steve, stop playing these games. Ask me a movie. I mean, I know music, but I only know certain music, and he'll be like, who's singing that? And I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Now I know Queen, but yeah. So,
It sounds like you and my wife are kind of the same, and me and Steve, like we have the same things. Like there's, there might be a tad bit of age gap between my wife and I know songs of her era, and who played it, who the background, like. We went right before the pandemic, right? Phil Collins had his, reunion tour, the "I'm Not Dead Yet" again tour, and we saw it at the Forum, which is amazing because I went to Inglewood High and basically had our high school commencement ceremony at the Forum, and before Prince went ahead and did that like weird like 12 straight shows or whatever, Phil Collins had the record, and there was like bronze like markers at the ticket office at the Forum that basically said that he did 8 straight shows at the Forum back in like 91, right? So this is so like exciting to see Phil like live and what have you. And I was like, oh, that's Daryl Strummer. Oh, and like Nicholas Collins, Phil's son, replaced Chester Thompson from Yes. And she's just like, who the hell are you?
that's exactly what I said when I went to the concert in Vegas. But his son, drum, drum, drum.
Yeah, man.
Amazing, amazing.
Beats flipping burgers, right? I mean, or going to a Halloween cast party or rap party, right? That's what you did at 16. I was flipping burgers. But 16 years old, Nicholas Collins, and then touring the world with his dad.
How cool is that? I mean, what an honor to be able to do that. No, I went to that and Steve knew every song and I was like, yeah, okay. But I was really impressed with him and he was great. And then the other drummer, speaking of drummers, I don't know her name, I'm sorry, but it's Santana's wife.
Yes,
Girlfriend.
yes, that used to be Cindy. Lenny Kravitz's former drummer.
Okay, she blew my mind. I mean, Steve plays the drums and he's good. But this woman was like, I mean, I thought she was going to like throw it up, grab it, and it was going to start on fire and then it was going to come back down. I mean, she was incredible. See? Didn't even know her first name.
Yes, yeah, no. I forgot her last name because it's now Santana, but so she was Lenny Kravitz when Lenny Kravitz first came on the scene. If you look at like, "Are You Gonna Go My Way?" and him with the dreads and the red velvet kind of skirt thingy or whatever, the gal with the afro is that Cindy and carried him through, and was in his band up until I think she met Santana and they moved to Vegas.
Oh, well, she's doing something right because she's amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
she
the
is.
workout alone, I'm like, I would be the muscles.
Yeah,
She's
yeah.
good. She's really good.
I don't know. You're pretty cut yourself. I'm just saying. It must be all that the Krav Maga and what have you.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I haven't done Krav Maga for a while, but
Hey,
low carb.
don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. Like you're a 6-star brigadier general of like the Israeli forces, and you could put people to sleep with the touch of the neck, right?
touch.
Yeah,
Naked hook.
yeah. You just never know. I'm just saying.
You never know.
Before we go, I actually have a Santana story.
Oh.
Yeah, so I actually went to school with 2 of his kids, Salvador and Stella Santana. Stella was actually in my same grade. And and this was like in Northern California and what have you. Salvador Santana actually, much like me, grew up a wrestling fan. So there was this wrestler, Bret Hart, and he had this move called the sharpshooter. It's a submission deal and what have you. Well, Salvador putting me in the submission that led to me getting a bloody lip, right? We got called into the principal's office. So here's my mom and my dad, and Carlos and his then wife, Deborah, and we're just, like this is a rock star parent conference. Like this is weird. He's great. He's so great. Like so kind and what have you. From what I hear, 30 years removed, nothing's changed. But like, yeah, it was weird. Like it was just the four of us, and like the principal kind of having to hold court and not geek over the fact that like I think he had a vinyl like record of Santana like in his office, and here he is like right there. And
he's reprimanding his son a little bit.
Yeah, so weird. So weird.
Well, if you're bloody, you got to go into the principal's office.
I'm just sitting there like,
what did he do? Like,
oh, so basically it's where you grapevine the legs and then turn somebody over and wrench back into their back. You sit on their back. It's all types of fun. It's all types of fun.
oh, wow.
Yeah. I'll do.
I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah.
Did you get a scar?
No cleft lip. But oddly enough, apparently going back into that time, the 7-year-old me looks exactly like Bat Boy from the National Enquirer.
Okay, I need a picture.
Yes. Oh, I will send it to you. No worries.
You have my email.
Yes, of course. I got you, sis. I got you. Now, obviously, Sarah, you have been absolutely lovely. But to get to where you've gotten in your life, in your career, there's been a lot of people that have helped you through, right? So without further ado, take it as long as you need. Let's get some shout outs out of the way.
Okay, I'll shout out. I'll shout out to David Vargas. He's the director of all the music videos. At David286, Instagram. Shout out to my husband, Steve Matzkin. I love him, and he's my partner. Shout out to Chico Bennett, who is my producer, my little sweetheart, who sticks with me in the song. I'm in the booth, and he's like, "What are you doing? You're going up on here." And I'm like, "I'm going for this. Just let me do it." So, shout out to him. Shout out to Jenna Rowland, who's my second mom. Shout out to my real mom, Stella Schroeder. I don't know. Shout out to you for having me on. You're sweet. James Lott Jr., Kelly K. PR. She's been my PR. And I'm going to shout out to Regina Daniels, who actually is an amazing publicist and one of my dear friends. And she's the one that also pushed me to sing. And she actually worked with Whitney Houston and Stephanie. So she's pretty awesome. Her name is Regina. She's my buddy. Anyway, and then shout out to Melissa Hayden. I hope I'm not forgetting anybody that I love so much. I mean, I love everybody. Shout out to my family. I don't know if I missed anybody. Oh, I got a shout out to Rose Rosen, casting director of Not Alone. And also Tyler Thompson and the Thompson family from Cross Creek Pictures, who we are partners with. And follow me on YouTube if you want. Subscribe.
Yeah, absolutely. And Yasmin says, "What's up, Adam? Nice to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well. Nice to meet you, Sarah." So shout out to Yasmin. It's tremendous, dude. Now, obviously, you kind of alluded to it, so let's give him all. For those who want to see all the brilliance that you're doing on the interwebs, and I believe I linked them down in the description, but just in case, where can they find you on social media, YouTube, and all of it?
At Sarah Schroeder Matzkin on Facebook and Instagram. And then on YouTube, Sarah Schroeder Matzkin was actually stolen. I had to get it back. So you can go under Sarah Schroeder. You can still go Sarah Schroeder Matzkin, but I had to change it a little bit. So Sarah Schroeder's got everything on there. And it also has the Not Alone trailer. So give that a look too.
Yes! Heck yeah.
And
Sarah,
that's official trailer, Not Alone.
Yeah, the official one. Not the cheap facsimile. We don't do that here. Don't do that here. No. And thank you guys for joining us here at According to Woods. And if you haven't already done so, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I mean, Sarah, you're subscribed to the podcast, aren't you?
I think so. I'm gonna if I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah. So be like Sarah.
Subscribe, but I will for sure.
Yeah. So be like Sarah. Go ahead and subscribe. But if you don't believe me or believe Sarah, and I don't know why you wouldn't, well, here's Pro Wrestler Zeta Zhang.
Hey, this is Zeta Zhang. Make sure you subscribe.